Hello students, today we learn Civics chapter 3 of class 8, the need of a parliament. First of all, the question arises, why do we need a parliament? So the answer is, we are living in a country which is having the largest democracy in the world, and that's why we need a parliament. But what are the roots and causes of foundation of a parliament? As we already learn in the history that during the colonial rule, neither did the people have any say in the functioning of the government, nor could they criticize the policies of the government. And for this, our leaders motivate common people to join the independence struggle. They inspired them of freedom ideas, equality, participation, and decision making ideas. But Indians did not agree with the British government as the decisions the British government took for the Indians, they were not beneficial for the common people of India. So, with high pressure of Indian National Congress, British government allowed to discuss the budget and ask questions. After that, the Government of India Act 1909 allowed indirect elections to the legislative assemblies. But national leaders of India were not satisfied with this. At last, India became independent on August 1947 through a process of long and difficult struggle. Take off some point, democracy's desire, approval, and participation of people. The leaders decided to form their own constitution. So, the individual give approval to the government of representatives. Those are elected by the common people. And that's how the parliament formed. It is a congregation of elected representatives. After this, the group of representatives, they form the government who runs our country. Parliament has many functions. It made of representative, those control, guides, and govern the country. Now let's learn about our Indian Parliament. First question is, what does Parliament consist of? As we know, it is congregation of elected representative, and the components, or we can say the factors of the parliament, are the president, Rajya Sabha, and Lok Sabha. Now let's learn about these. There are two houses of the parliament, Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha. Let's learn about each of the component. Lok Sabha, it has maximum strength of 552 members. But at present, there are only 545 members in Indian Parliament Lok Sabha House, out of which 530 members are elected from the states and 13 members are elected from the union territories. The President of India can nominate 2 members from Anglo-Indian community if he or she feels that community is insufficiently representative. Members of Lok Sabha are elected for a period of 5 years, and the Speaker is presided the meetings of Lok Sabha. But the President has the power to dissolve the House of Lok Sabha before the completion of its tenure if the ruling party loses majority. On the other hand, in times of emergency, its tenure can be extended also for a year. Now the Rajya Sabha. It is the upper house of the parliament. The maximum strength is 250, and at present there are 245 members. Out of these, 238 seats elected by states and union territories, and 12 members are nominated by the president. The president nominates these 12 members from the eminent personalities representing various fields like art, culture, cinema, literature, etc. The chairman of Rajya Sabha is the vice president, and he presided over the meetings of Rajya Sabha. Rajya Sabha members are also called members of parliament. In short, we know them as MPs. The ex officio, or we can say vice president of Rajya Sabha, he presided the meetings and he was elected by members of both the houses of parliament. In case the office of presidents fall vacant due to death, resignation, illness or any other reason, then president took over the charge. Now, the role of parliament, or we can say the functions of the parliament. There are mainly three important functions of the parliament: to select the national government, to control, guide and inform, and the third is law-making function. So let's learn about them. The first function, to select the national government. As we know, the parliament consists two houses, Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. So, after the election to form the government, the party should have at least half of the votes, that is 272 members or more of Lok Sabha. If no party gets a clear majority, then two or more political parties with similar objective can come together to form a coalition government. So, in other words, we can say, to make the government, any political party has to win more than half seats of Lok Sabha. As we know, there are 545 seats at present. So, at least 272 seats should be won. And if no party can win this much of seat, so two or more parties can form a coalition government. Other parties are known as opposition parties. The executive is responsible for implementing the laws made by the parliament. And one of the most important function of Lok Sabha is selection of the executives. The ruling party chooses a prime minister who is the real head of the state, and he or she appoints ministers, coordinators that work for various departments and advises the president on important matters. Now, the second function of the parliament, to control, guide and inform the government. Generally, the first hour for a sitting of Lok Sabha is devoted to questions, and that's why this hour is called question hour. MPs of parliament are free to ask questions to ministers of the government and to get information on public concern matters. And in this hour, the opposition party plays an important role. They highlight drawbacks of policies and programs which were launched by the ruling party. And this is how the government gets valuable feedback of their work. And in this way, the parliament control, guides and inform the government. The third function of the government is lawmaking. As per the constitution, the center can make laws on 97 subjects given in the union list. such as railways, banking, foreign affairs, etc. It can also amend the constitution, but in matters affecting the state, it has to be endorsed by the state too. In case of national emergency or in case of breakdown of state machinery, the parliament can make laws on the subjects given in the state list also. The government, or we can say the parliament, also form laws, and there is a long procedure to form the laws. For this, there is the first stage of first reading, that is also known as the introduction stage. After that, second reading to be done. In this, discussion was held in the House of Parliament. After that, the voting stage, that is known as third stage. And after this, the draft, or we can say the bill, sent to President's assent. And after President's assent and signature, that bill becomes a law. Now, the next topic of this chapter is people in the parliament. So, first of all, who are the people in parliament? Nowadays, more and more people from diverse background are actively participating in functioning of government. Regional parties have come into prominence and are playing a crucial role in the decision making process and also influence the policies made by the center. The underprivileged section of society, minority communities, also actively participated in the political process. MPs are also elected from Dalits and Adivasis and represent them. Other than this, there is reservation also for women. Before 60 years, it was only 4% in the parliament. But nowadays, 9% seats are reserved for MPs as women in our parliament. And this increase is almost significant, considering the fact that women constitute almost 50% of the population. With this, we end up this chapter here. Thank you.